A couple weeks ago, I made a big video talking about Ivan Demidov's huge KHL debut this season. But since then, things have not gone well for Ivan Demidov, and his deployment with SK St. Petersburg has slowly dwindled. Right now, it's looking like the worst fears we had with Demidov's ice time and situation this year in the KHL are coming to pass. But what's wrong with this situation with Demidov in the KHL? What happens next, and will it eventually be fixed? Well, today, we're going to be talking about everything here to break it all down, so make sure you watch till the end and hit that subscribe button if you're new for more hockey prospect talk just like this all throughout the year. Like I said, after the last video I made, we were so filled with hope with Demidov and how well he played in his first game with SK, getting a primary assist, looking good all over the ice. There was some problems with the ice time, and especially later on in the game, him not getting the opportunities he maybe should have, especially considering how good he was in that game, how consistent he was offensively, generating chances, entering the zone, using his physicality. There were some major improvements. But hey, he was starting on the third line, playing with Evgeny Kuznetsov to start out the season with SK St. Petersburg, and it was seen as somewhat of a stepping stone. Maybe he wouldn't get the ice time to start out, but hopefully he'd get more and more over time. And folks, I hate being the bearer of bad news, but coming from Cam Robinson, giving us a breakdown of the time on ice through the first 4 games for Demidov, you can see game 1 started out decently with 14 minutes and 2 seconds. It went back down a little bit to game 2, 13 minutes and 36 seconds, but then a big drop off in game 3 where he only logged just above 10 minutes and also got demoted to the 4th line. And then of course, as you can see, after being demoted to the 4th line in game 3, Demidov starts out the 4th game again on the 4th line, and the ice time throughout the first part of it at least was staying consistent. He wasn't really getting much of an opportunity, but in the 3rd period, to be fair, SK gave him a little bit more of an opportunity. As you can see, when Cam Robinson made this tweet, he was on pace for about 9 minutes in game 4. Meanwhile, as Simon Says puts out the totals for the game, Demidov played 5 minutes and 55 seconds on the 3rd period, had 7 shifts, 2 shots on goal, created multiple chances of scoring, and finished the game with 13 minutes and 5 seconds of ice time. And we also saw Demidov right there in the final minute with the extra attacker out there, so at least SK has confidence to put him out there in a more sheltered offensive situation, but it just makes me curious why they're going out there and playing him so little to start things out. It's hard to build the momentum as a player, and even though you get a lot more ice time in the 3rd period, I think it was just a little bit too little, too late. But Demidov still had some great moments in this game 4. You have this play in the 3rd period where he's rushing up the ice here through the middle. He cuts through and is able to get the pass pretty well, receiving it, deking, and getting a weak shot off mostly because of the stick in front, but still some pretty good speed there and a good scoring opportunity. What would you know, when you're actually starting to give him ice time in the 3rd period, he actually starts to get going. I really love this shift though, and how he's able to work for the puck here. He's battling with a big attacker. He loses the puck, but ends up stealing it back away. But look what Demidov does here with all the pressure around him, spins around and puts a perfect pass to the slot. Of course, his teammate is not able to finish, but that would have been one heck of an assist. Even when it feels like his entire situation is against him with SK's complete lack of scoring, the 4th line demotion, the lack of consistent ice time, Demidov is still able to pull out some magic, and thank goodness for that. There was one other chance as well in this one. You had a shot off the boards by this D. Demidov with some quick reaction time, able to get the shot off. Good save by Fucali though, and is able to stop the chance. But it's just straight out disappointing to see this deployment by Demidov, considering how promising it was in the first game and what we were seeing afterwards. Sure, has there been stretches where he might not be putting the most production out there? Absolutely, but nobody really on SK has been putting that much consistency out there. Demidov has been one of the few players actually performing up to a solid level and actually being able to play creatively, play with the puck, play with the speed that he provides. And I think with how barren of an offensive team SK has been, it's extremely strange to see this lack of ice time here. But you look at the production in 4 games, he has 1 primary assist for 1 point, and he hasn't been lighting the world on fire, but I don't think any player in Demidov's situation really would be. Matvei Michkov wasn't the year before, and Demidov certainly isn't right now. As has been well documented, the KHL is a league where the teams want to win, they want to get results first and foremost, and the kids' priorities, their development is pushed to the wayside. It's not a priority. But that's what's strange about this situation to me, is that it's not even about development, it's just about playing the best best players available and putting the most offensive pieces in the best positions to succeed. This isn't about the age or the prospects here. Demidov has proved to be one of SKA's most creative, most offensively gifted players already, and with how much they've struggled offensively, it's just a bad coaching decision to play Demidov as little as they have been. And if we're being honest, I think Demidov should be in that top 6, or at least be in a more sheltered role. He's not really being able to show off his strengths on the 4th line, but if you put him in a top 6 position, power play time, I think that would bring so much more to his game. I mean, you could have a second line of Demidov, Kuznetsov, and Arseny Gritsuk, which I think will be pretty fantastic. I think those 3 players could work off each other pretty well, but he just hasn't been given the opportunity to do that. But to me, I think it just goes to show the incompetency from the coaching that we haven't seen that. I mean, look at this tweet from Habs Nation. SK has gone scoreless in their last 6 periods, struggling to find the back of the net. Their whole team has been struggling, not just Demidov. So when you point at the production in Demidov's case not being there, you could point at anybody on SK not living up to their potential. But I mean, just look at this. Look at the scoring for SK so far. Besides Arseny Gritsuk, who I absolutely adore, nobody is playing all that well for SK right now. They have 3 other players that have 2 points, and then the rest are with 1 point. Right now, with Demidov's ice time, he would be tied 5th in team scoring. That just goes to show how incompetent this team has been so far. I don't think for a Habs top prospect, a European team situation can ever get as bad as Catton was for David Reinbacher, but man, it's getting me the same vibes right now, the same heebie-jeebies. I mean, it's almost impossible to be as bad offensively as they were, but I mean, the bar is so incredibly low that somehow SK is even making it a competition is incredible to me. But especially given the talent that SK has, even if Demidov were to not be getting playing time, sure, maybe that ends up happening, but I wouldn't have expected Demidov to be getting demoted, to be getting this lack of playing time, while the rest of the team is just pure crap. They're not even playing well outside of him. It's not even like other players are exceeding Demidov and they need to get more playing time. Nobody has been playing good. Nobody at all. So now you have the 18-year-old getting demoted and getting the short end of the stick, while everyone else, all the other veterans that should be playing well, are just straight crap. I think it just once again reinforces how important it is that Demidov seems to want to be going away from Russia after this next year. And honestly, considering that situation, it's no shock why SK wouldn't want to play him that much, because he's not going to be this project that stays with the team for all that long. But as soon as Demidov gets away from Russia, that's going to be good news for the Montreal Canadiens. Even if things get better, there's always going to be that weird political side to things that could end up hurting Demidov in the end. The sad thing is, though, that this is another situation where a top prospect for SKA is being fumbled, in my opinion. And I think Michkov's case was even worse, because I think Michkov could have immediately been a top-end player for them, but they just decided to absolutely ruin his deployment last year. He ended up playing 1 game, but was benched for a few games, didn't get any opportunities, and once again was loaned to Sochi, where he'd have another incredible season. To me, it's just insane bag fumbling by SK. Imagine if they had Michkov this whole time. Imagine if they had more trust with Demidov and were able to build these two together. Maybe Michkov would have wanted to stay longer in Russia. I feel like they have completely missed the mark here with these top-end players that could have been better for the team overall. I know you don't want to give ice time to your 18 and 19-year-olds, but when your 18 and 19-year-olds are better than your everyday players, how are you as a coach not giving them the opportunity? It just doesn't make any sense to me. At least in Demidov's case, he's playing games. I mean, it's an extremely low bar, but I guess there's that. And I guess there is confidence late in games that Demidov can come in and try to spark some hope. And he was able to do that in that last game, even if the results didn't come. So at least there's that, but we're not asking for too much, man. Just play him in a better situation that he can actually get production from, that he can actually help the team with, because obviously his deployment right now ain't working. But then anxiety starts to come with me a little bit here, because in SK's situation, with them being in this hole, with them losing as much as they have been already, there might be a situation where they double down on the veterans and try to win as much as humanly possible, which might leave Demidov's ice time dwindling even further. But I want to have hope because of that third period. I want to have hope that they actually start giving him more playing time, because that's what he deserves, quite frankly. I think it's what will make SK a better team. So if they do see that, then hopefully we start seeing that soon. But then we have this bombshell by Hockey News Hub that I needed to talk about today. As they say, SK has turned off their comment section on Telegram yesterday following their 3-0 loss. Head coach Roman Ronsenberg says there is evidence that some comments about SK are not written from Russia. That's a fact. Don't read them. People write from abroad, you need to study the subject first. This is an incredibly inept quote, in my opinion, from a head coach that has just been frustrated, obviously, by his team's performance. Obviously, in this situation, when you're going scoreless in back-to-back games, you're not going to be in your best state of mind. But don't they have a point? Don't they have a point that your lack of deployment with Demidov, that your inconsistencies with his playing time, I think, have hurt the team, and that you're not obviously coaching the team in the right way, especially with SK and the resources they have to get shut out in back-to-back games, to have the season start out this way for them? It's not really being used in the best way possible. I think even he could admit that. So to say that you need to study the subject first, I don't think it takes this Harvard scholar to say that Demidov needs more opportunity, to say that how they deployed their players for the whole team have not been working. You don't need to be a secret genius for this. It doesn't take that much to understand that it hasn't been working. And I'm very concerned by the attitude here, that this is the type of head coach that Demidov is having to work with, that Michkov also had to work with. I mean, if he's this dense about this type of situation, then I don't really have much confidence in him going forward. And I feel like there would be less comments from abroad, from outside of Russia, if you were actually doing your job correctly. Even if Demidov wasn't getting the most playing time, if SK was actually scoring a boatload of goals, scoring 5 goals a game, then, you know, you could understand why they wouldn't play Demidov in that situation. But you aren't even winning games! So how do you justify this? You can't, and obviously he didn't do it very well. I'm just pissed off at this guy because I was extremely frustrated about him with the Michkov situation. I said so in the videos we made about Michkov's situation last year, and how I didn't think he was the proper handler for the situation. It didn't seem like he had the understanding that this player can be something for you. And in the Demidov situation, it's gotten better. He was on the opening right roster. He's been playing in these games, but it's still not enough. You're not making the right decisions with these young stars you have on your hands. It's like if you have McDavid in the NHL in year 1 and you decide, okay, well, we're the Oilers, we suck anyways, but go play on the 4th line. Maybe you'll play some minutes in the 3rd if you're lucky, buddy. Your role in the KHL as a head coach is to win games. So in that case, you play Ivan Demidov. It's pretty simple. Now, here's the thing. With Demidov coming into the NHL, or at least North America after next season, even if this disastrous season continues, I don't think I would raise the white flag yet. I think in Demidov's case, he's a player you can be pretty patient with because of the natural skill he has. That's always going to be there. It's not going to get demoted just because he got demoted. And I think getting the experience versus these pro players is valuable. Even if it's not the ice time we want, it's still going in the right direction. It's still something. I'd rather have him play limited minutes in the KHL than be in a weak league like the MHL again. That might be a little bit of controversial opinion, but I think getting this experience versus big boys in the KHL is good experience. But I think in Demidov's case, even though it isn't the situation we want, I don't think it's going to ruin his development or anything, at least not long term, because he is coming over. If it's just this 1 year, it's just this 1 year, so I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. But still though, man, I think the potential is there for Demidov to dominate like Matvei Michkov dominated in his post-draft season, for him to be up to that level, to put up some great point totals. But if the situation just isn't there, then the situation isn't there. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but as of right now, it's not looking too great. I hope I'm wrong though, and this starts to turn a page, and that SK realizes that Demidov is that dude, but I think it might take a little while for us to get there. I think SK is in this weird transitional phase where they're trying to win as much as possible, and we're just gonna have to see the growing pains before Demidov gets the time on ice that he truly deserves. But hey, that's the KHL for you. It is weird, it is wacky, it is stupid, but that's why it's fun to talk about. Now, in the last video, we talked about what Demidov could do by the season's end, how many points he could end up getting, and I think I predicted around 30, 35 points. That was kind of with the assumption that his ice time would grow over time, and eventually he'd get more trust and more opportunities within the lineup. I'm less confident in that happening now. If this ice time trajectory continues, I think maybe 15, 20 points is pretty understandable. Hopefully, it's able to improve. If it does, I think we could see him more around that 30-point range, but I think that's about as much as he gets. Obviously, SK is not going to be a competent team here with his development, and we have to take that into account. But the good thing is that even with this limited ice time, Demidov is still creating, he's still putting up opportunities, and still setting up his teammates in insane ways. That's what I wanted to see. I still wanted to see him do that at the pro level and prove himself there. And I think so far, even though the production hasn't been incredible, I think he has proved himself in that way. Now, with this situation being as crazy as it is, I'd love to know your thoughts down below on what you guys think of this, on Demidov's deployment, on his ice time. Do you see it getting better? Do you see it getting worse? What do you think of head coach Ronberg's comments? What do you think about his future in SK? What do you think about Demidov's future in SK this year? I would love to hear all your thoughts on this situation because it is a pretty hectic one. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for all of the prospect coverage throughout the year because you won't want to miss a thing. And make sure you share the video for all the hockey fans, all the Habs fans you guys know online too, and click on this card for all of my hockey prospects talk right in one playlist, right for you to binge. And I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching right to the very end, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a fantastic hockey day, and goodbye.